Back, the John Kenyon Eye Centers wants you to be aware that April is Sports Eye Injury Protection Month. I want to make sure that's right. Sports Eye Injury Safety Month.
Safety Month.
Dr. Asim Paracha is with us now. Dr. Paracha, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, John.
You're a busy man, but basically what this month is all about, and what eye safety, the month of April is all about, is there are sports that are probably more susceptible to eye injuries. Tell me a little bit about those, Doctor.
Well, I mean, spring is here, and the outdoor activities are getting ramped up. And the common sports, the ones that for both younger and older people, is like normal sports like baseball, basketball, football is in there as well, but racket sports, and even recreations like fishing, for instance, or hunting.
When you say racket sports, automatically when I think about eyes, I think about a ball hitting the eye, or any kind of contact sport. I think about eye trauma. If someone, let's say, whether you're a weekend warrior and you experience an eye injury, or your daughter, your son, whatever the case may be, what are some of the things you should look for with an eye injury? Because, a black eye is one thing, but it can be more serious. What are some of the signs? Well,
before we get to the signs, talk about protection. So okay. The first thing is about 25,000 injuries can occur yearly in these sports. The good news, though, is 90% are preventable, and the prevention is mostly eye protection. So if they play sports with helmets, if they can wear like a face mask or the polycarbonate shields to protect their eyes, that's a great way to protect their eyes. And then for racket sports, racquetball is really a big one because the ball is smaller, so it actually can hit the eye directly. So protective eyewear with polycarbonate lenses are really important. So protection both with glasses as well as the helmets and shields are the best way to protect the eyes.
For folks who get out on the road, or like you said, weekend warriors who get outside now, sun's starting to come out here, how much damage can the sun do to your eyes?
Well, we talk about UV protection, like you protect your skin from skin cancers, and UV light can cause damage to the eye, cause actually cancers to the surface of the cornea, surface of the eye, just like skin. And then over prolonged periods of time, UV light can cause damage to the retina and increase the risk for macular degeneration. So UV protection is very important as well. So sunglasses with UVA and UVB rated protection.
Okay, now let's talk about some of the red flags. Yeah. If you have a son or a daughter who's in a contact sport, maybe they take a blow to the eye, maybe it's a lacrosse stick, whatever the case may be, what are the red flags for you?
So first of all, it's a minor sign can be serious. So if there's any damage to the eye, even suspected, then seeing their eye care professional at a timely manner that day, the next day is very important. Because you could have some subtle findings on the eye that, by appearance, that don't look serious, but they can really cause damage to the eye. So be seen by your eye care professional quickly, urgently, and depending on the amount of pain or trauma, it could be like right away within hours. So it depends on the injury. But let's say you have a black eye. It's like, well, it's not a bad thing, but it could be a sign of a trauma or fracture to the orbital bones, and that can cause damage to some of the muscles around the eye. So if you have that, you can see double vision, or maybe your eyes aren't working together. If that's occurring, then that should be seen, evaluated, MRI, CT scans, make sure there's no damage around the eye to be treated. If you see redness of the white of the eye, or even the clear part of the eye, like where the iris is, that's a sign of blunt trauma to the eye, and that can cause damage to the iris. It can cause bleeding in the eye. It can cause glaucoma to occur. So those are serious. Of course, lacerations and cuts are always serious, and if you get laceration to the eyelid or the eye, it should be protected. Our first response is to apply pressure. Our first response may be pull out something that got in the eye. And never do that. So don't apply pressure. If you have bleeding in your skin or your arm or leg, you say apply pressure. But for your eye, do not apply pressure. Protect the eye. Wear a shield. If you don't have a shield, you can get like a paper cup and cut off the back of it. Just cover the eye. We say don't eat or drink because you may need surgery that day. Don't take blood thinners like ibuprofen or aspirin because they can cause more bleeding to occur. So these are kind of the common things. If they're fishing is a bad one. So you can get fish hooks to the eye, which we've seen. And unfortunately, we've seen people try to remove the fish hook, which is even worse. So I don't want to get too graphic here for your audience. But the point is, if you got something in your eye, do not remove it. Leave it, leave it alone. Protect the eye. If it's a foreign body, like a little scratchy sensation, you can blink, rinse it out. But if it's something like a piece of metal or a piece of wood or a fish hook, for instance, just leave it and be seen right away immediately.
Dr. Paracha, you mentioned something here that I think is really worthy of note, is sometimes time is of the essence.
Yes.
You mentioned you get an eye trauma, you have something happen to your eye, don't eat or drink because sometimes you need to get to surgery rather quickly, or you could risk the loss of the eye, correct? The
correct.
vision.
So, I mean, if you have like a ruptured globe, like a laceration that went through the structure of the eye, it needs to be repaired, ASAP. And so if you need, anesthesia and you've been eating, it's a little bit of a problem. You have to delay the surgery. So some people, they may be 2 hours away. They're coming in to see us for their trauma, and they stop and get lunch or get some food because, they haven't eaten. But don't do that. Come straight to the eye exam, the ER or the, eye care professional to be treated. And then a lot of times people think eyeglasses are a protection. Really, eyeglasses are not the protection you need from these sports because it doesn't protect the eyes from trauma. Mm-hmm. The glasses can actually break and even hurt the eyes. So polycarbonate lenses are better. And of course, laser vision correction is always a great option, especially if you wear glasses. So you can wear polycarbonate lenses to protect the eyes, not for vision correction, but just for protection. And we have several types of laser vision correction now, even without flaps. So there's LASIK, which is safe, but if you have trauma to the eyes, a little bit of issue. ASA, there's no flap, and so basically after it's healed, it's back to normal and good vision. And we have a new procedure called SMILE, which stands for Small Incision Lenticular Extraction, which is basically a flap-less or flap-free LASIK procedure. And so if you get trauma to the eye, it's still same strength and no increased risk for problems. So it's a great option for these athletes who want to perform better, see well, but also be able to wear protective eyewear and not glasses.
Dr. Paracha, I know our focus on today's show is about sports injuries, but with that being said, for those who may have eye issues, the John Kenyon Eye Centers, they are your answer. The experts like Dr. Paracha, the very best and the latest in equipment. This is critical to you to be the very best and top of the business. I know that's important to you and the rest of your team there at John Kenyon Eye Centers. What other procedures do you perform there at the centers?
So of course, refractive surgery, which is not just LASIK, so we have a full menu of options for every individual, from younger patients to older patients. Cataract surgery with premium lens implants, laser cataract surgery. We do glaucoma surgery, advanced microincisional glaucoma surgeries, retina surgeries. So basically everything from the front of the eye to the back of the eye.
Yeah, and although this is Sports Injury Safety Month for your eyes, every month, everyone knows the value of eye health, and I know it's critical to you as well. So if they need an appointment, give you a call, correct?
Absolutely.
Consultations as well. I think that's important. Again, let's put up the information. The John Kenyon Eye Centers. There we go. There's the website. And, Doc, you can probably get a lot of good information on that website as well, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Again, Dr. Awesome Paracha, and he is awesome. All right, coming up here. This seems like common sense, but it's important. We need to raise awareness. Let's talk about stopping child abuse. There's a rally on its way, and you can be a part of it. You can support it. We'll tell you about it next on Wave 3 Listens Live.